The arrival, the soldier opened his eyes slowly. His head was heavy and his body felt weak. The first thing he noticed was silence, an unnatural silence. No gunfire, no shouting, no engines, just the soft hum of something he could not place. He tried to sit up, but a sharp pain ran through his side. His hand moved quickly to his ribs where he felt bandages, strange bandages, not like the ones he knew from human medicine. They were smooth, glowing faintly with a pale blue light. His heart began to race. Where was he? The soldier looked around. The walls were curved, smooth, and alive with strange patterns of light. Machines floated near the ceiling, moving like insects, blinking softly. The bed he was on was not made of metal or cloth. It was something else, something alive. It moved slightly under his weight like it was breathing. Fear settled deep in his chest. He was not in a human hospital. He was on an alien ship. Before he could move again, the door to the room slid open without sound. What stepped inside made him freeze. She was small, very small, barely taller than a child. But her presence was sharp, almost dangerous. She was not human. Her skin was a pale gray with faint stripes, her eyes large and golden, glowing softly in the dim light. She wore no heavy armor, only a simple uniform, but her movements were precise, controlled, and full of confidence. In her hands was a strange tool that looked half like a scanner, half like a weapon. She looked at him directly without fear, and spoke in clear but sharp words. "Relax. You are mine now." Her voice was not loud, but it carried a command. It was the kind of voice that expected obedience. The soldier tried to speak, his voice rough. Where am I?" The small alien woman ignored his question. She walked to his side, climbing onto the strange bed without hesitation. She was so light he barely felt her steps, yet the way she moved gave him no chance to resist. She pressed the tool against his chest. A wave of warmth spread through him, calming the pain for a moment. "Do not move," she ordered. "You will break again." Her golden eyes locked on his. He wanted to argue, to demand answers, but something about her look stopped him. She was small, yes, but she looked at him the way a predator looks at prey. Complete control, no doubt, no hesitation. He lay back, breathing slowly. His body wanted rest, but his mind screamed questions. Who was she? Why was he here? What did she mean when she said he was hers? The alien nurse worked quickly. She opened his bandages and checked his wounds with care, but not with softness. Every touch was precise, almost forceful. She pressed where it hurt, watched his reactions, and nodded as if studying him. The soldier clenched his teeth. "You're a nurse?" he asked. She tilted her head slightly as if the word was strange to her. Then she answered, her voice calm but cold. "I keep you alive. That is enough." Her words gave him no comfort. If anything, they filled him with more unease. The soldier tried again to push himself up, but she pressed one small hand firmly against his chest. To his shock, she was strong, far stronger than her size suggested. He could not move. "I said relax," she repeated, her golden eyes narrowing. "You will do as I say." A shiver ran down his spine. He had faced enemies larger than him, stronger than him, but never something like this. Something so small, yet completely in control. The alien nurse climbed higher onto the bed, standing over him now. She adjusted the strange glowing bandages, humming softly in a language he did not know. The machines around them responded, their lights changing color as if they obeyed her. For a moment, he felt like a child under her care, helpless, weak, forced to trust someone he did not understand. But deep inside, a question grew louder. Was she really saving him? Or was she claiming him? The nurse leaned close, her golden eyes inches from his face. "You will heal," she said quietly, almost like a promise. "And when you do, you will understand." Her words left him cold. He closed his eyes, trying to calm his racing thoughts. His last memory was the battle, the explosion that tore through his ship, the sound of screaming, the burning heat. He remembered falling, darkness swallowing him. Now he was here, saved, but not free. The small alien nurse continued her work, her movement steady and confident. She never looked afraid. She never hesitated. She acted as if he already belonged to her, as if his survival was not his own choice but hers. And as he lay there, powerless, he realized something terrible. She might be right. The strange treatment. The soldier woke again hours later, or maybe days. He could not tell. Time felt strange on this ship. The air was always the same, heavy with a faint metallic taste. The room glowed with soft blue light, never changing, never fading. When his eyes opened, the small alien nurse was already there. She was sitting near his bed, her golden eyes fixed on him. She did not look tired. She did not look bored. She looked like a hunter waiting for her prey to stir. The moment he moved, she stood. "Good. You live," she said, her voice sharp, like a blade. "Now we continue." Before he could ask what she meant, she climbed onto the strange living bed again. Her light steps carried no sound, but her presence pressed down on him like a weight. In her hands was a new tool. It looked alive, a coil of silver threads that moved on their own, twisting and writhing. The soldier's chest tightened. What is that?" The nurse ignored the question. She placed the writhing coil on his chest. At once the threads spread across his skin, glowing faintly. They slid under his bandages, into his wounds. He gasped, the pain sharp and hot. His hands tried to reach up, but she caught them both with one small hand. "Do not fight me," she commanded. Her voice was calm, but it carried power. The soldier stared at her. She was tiny, her frame delicate, yet her strength was undeniable. His arms could not break free. The coil tightened, digging deeper. His breath came fast, sweat running down his face. He wanted to scream, but he bit his lip. He would not give her that. The nurse tilted her head, studying him. "You endure. Good." She adjusted the coil with her other hand, and suddenly the pain changed. The fire inside his body cooled, replaced by a strange energy. His wounds burned and then healed, not fully but faster than human medicine ever allowed. He could feel tissue knitting, bones strengthening. But it was not natural. It was alien. It was frightening. "What are you doing to me?" he forced out, his voice low and strained. The nurse leaned closer, her golden eyes glowing brighter. "I am fixing you. Better than before. Stronger than before." Her words sent a chill through him. "Stronger? For what?" The coil tightened again, forcing his muscles to spasm. His back arched against the bed, his jaw clenched until he thought his teeth would break. And still the tiny nurse held him down with one hand, her strength unshakable. Minutes passed, or maybe longer. Finally, she pulled the coil away. It unraveled, alive and twitching, before folding neatly back into her hand. The pain faded, but something new remained. His chest felt heavy, yet full of power. His breathing was easier. His heart beat faster, stronger. He could feel the change inside him. The nurse wiped the sweat from his forehead, not gently, but with the same control as everything she did. "You will not die now," she said simply. He looked at her, confusion and anger mixing inside him. Why are you helping me?" The nurse's eyes narrowed. For the first time, a hint of emotion crossed her face. Not softness, not kindness, but something deeper. "You do not understand yet," she said. "But you will. You are mine. That is enough." Her words echoed in his head. "You are mine." The soldier tried to push himself up again. This time he managed to rise a little higher, his body stronger than before. The nurse did not stop him. Instead, she watched with sharp focus, as if testing him. His legs shook as he swung them over the edge of the bed. He stood barely, his body trembling. He wanted to prove he could move, that he was not just her prisoner. But the floor tilted under him, his vision blurred, and he fell. She caught him easily, her small arms wrapping around his chest. He could not believe her strength. She lowered him back onto the bed with care, but her voice was merciless. "Fool, you are not ready. Do not test me again." The soldier's chest rose and fell quickly, his pride burning more than his wounds. He glared at her, but her golden eyes did not flinch. "You think you control me?" he said through clenched teeth. Her lips curved into the faintest smile. "No, I know I control you." The room fell silent. The machines hummed softly. The glowing walls pulsed faintly, and the soldier lay helpless beneath the weight of her words. She placed the coil back into a case at her side and leaned close to his ear. Her whisper was low, dangerous, filled with promise. "You will be strong. You will be more than human. And when the time comes, you will fight, not for yourself." "For me?" The soldier froze, her words cutting deeper than any blade. The nurse stepped down from the bed, moving with the calm grace of someone who had already won. She walked toward the door, then paused and looked back. Her golden eyes glowed like fire. "Rest. Tomorrow we continue." The door slid shut behind her, leaving him alone with his thoughts, and in the silence, one truth settled heavy on his mind. He was no longer a soldier. He was becoming something else, something she wanted, something she owned. The power shift. The soldier no longer woke to silence. Now every time he opened his eyes, she was already there, watching, waiting. Sometimes she stood by the wall with her arms folded, golden eyes fixed on him. Sometimes she sat near his bed, sharpening tools that looked more like weapons than medical instruments. She was always there, and each time, she gave orders. Eat. Sleep. Breathe deeper. Do not speak. He tried to resist at first. He pushed away the glowing food she gave him. He refused to rest when she told him to close his eyes. But she never raised her voice. She never argued. She simply repeated the command, calm and sharp, until his will broke. And when he obeyed, he noticed something disturbing. His body responded. The food made him stronger. The rest gave him energy. The strange exercises she forced him to do, even simple movements of his arms and legs, burned like fire at first, but left him more alive than before. He hated it. But it worked. Each day he felt less like himself and more like something new. One day she ordered him to stand. He hesitated. His legs were stronger now, but his pride was wounded. "And if I don't?" he asked. The nurse stepped closer, so close he could see the faint markings on her gray skin. She didn't blink. She didn't smile. She simply placed her small hand on his chest and pushed, just once. The soldier stumbled back a step. He froze. That single push had nearly knocked him down. Her voice was low, certain. "You will stand because I said so." Something inside him burned at her words. But the fire of his anger clashed with something colder. Fear. He obeyed. He stood. The nurse circled him slowly like a predator testing its prey. Her golden eyes never left him. She tapped his arm with a thin rod, forcing him to lift it higher. She pressed his back until his posture was straight. Every correction came with that same commanding calmness. Stronger. Again. Do not stop. Hours passed. His muscles trembled, sweat covered his skin, but she gave him no mercy. When he finally collapsed back onto the bed, gasping for air, she stood over him like a victor. "You see?" she said softly. "You are mine, and you are better for it." He wanted to scream at her, to tell her he was not hers, to tell her he would never bow to some tiny alien nurse, but his body betrayed him. His heart pounded with strange energy. His wounds were almost gone. His muscles, once weak, now felt like steel, and deep down, he knew she was right. The next day, things changed. He was not the only one in the room anymore. 2 other aliens entered. Tall, armored, dangerous. Their weapons glowed with faint red light, and their faces were hidden behind masks. They looked like guards, or executioners. The soldier tensed, ready to fight. But the nurse raised one hand and the 2 warriors stopped instantly. They bowed their heads to her, silent and obedient. The soldier's eyes widened. These towering warriors, armed and deadly, bowed to her, the tiny nurse. She spoke to them in her language, sharp and quick. They answered with simple nods, then stepped aside. The soldier's chest tightened. This was no ordinary medic, no simple caretaker. She commanded warriors. When the guards left, he turned to her. "Who are you really?" She looked at him for a long moment, then leaned in close, her golden eyes glowing brighter. "I am the one who keeps you alive," she whispered, "and the one who will decide how you live." Her words cut deeper than any blade. That night he could not sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her face. Small, calm, unshakable. He saw the way even armored giants obeyed her. He remembered the way her hand, so small, had stopped him from resisting. He realized something terrifying. She was not making him stronger for kindness. She was shaping him, claiming him, and worse, he was letting her, because every time she gave a command, his body followed. Every time she told him to endure, he endured. And every time she said he belonged to her, he almost believed it. The soldier lay awake, staring at the ceiling of the alien room, his chest tight with fear and anger. He whispered to himself, as if to fight the spell she had over him, "I am not yours. I am not." But the words sounded weak in the silence. And in the shadows he thought he saw her golden eyes watching him still. The power shift was complete. He was no longer her patient. He was her possession. And deep inside, a truth began to grow. If he wanted to survive, he might have to stay that way. The revelation. The soldier's uneasy sleep was broken by a sound he had not heard since the battle that nearly killed him. Alarms. The walls of the alien chamber pulsed red. The floor shook with the vibration of engines. Somewhere far away, heavy footsteps pounded through the halls, mixed with the echo of shouted orders in a language he did not know. He sat up quickly, heart racing. The strange bandages on his body glowed brighter, tightening against his skin as if preparing him for something. The door to his chamber hissed open. She entered, the tiny nurse. But this time she was not carrying her medical tools. She wore light armor that fit her small frame, glowing faintly with blue lines. A short staff rested in her hand, its edges sparking with deadly energy. Her golden eyes burned with focus. "Stay here," she commanded. The soldier stood anyway. "What's happening?" Her eyes narrowed. "Attack." "Not your concern. You are not ready." Before he could argue, the ship shook violently, nearly throwing him off his feet. The hum of weapons fire rumbled through the walls. The enemy was already here. The soldier clenched his fists. He could not just sit and wait to die. "If they're boarding, I can fight." The nurse turned to him, her golden gaze sharp enough to cut steel. "You can barely stand without my help. Do not think yourself a warrior yet," her words stung. But before he could respond, the door exploded inward. Two figures stormed inside, armored in jagged black plates, their weapons glowing red-hot. Their masks hid their faces, but their growls promised death. The soldier's breath caught. He had no weapon, no strength. He braced himself anyway, but the nurse did not hesitate. She moved like lightning. Her small body leapt from the floor, staff spinning in her hands. The first enemy swung a blade at her, but she was already inside his guard. Her staff cracked against his helmet with a burst of blue sparks, dropping him instantly. The second enemy roared and fired his weapon, a bolt of red energy blasting toward her. She twisted mid-air, landing on the wall as if gravity did not apply to her. The blast missed by inches. With a snarl, she darted forward. Her staff struck once, twice, 3 times, faster than the soldier's eyes could follow. The armored warrior staggered back, sparks flying from his chest plate before collapsing to the floor with a heavy crash. The room fell silent again. The soldier stood frozen, staring at her. He had seen warriors in his life, men and women who fought with skill and courage, but never had he seen something like this. She was small. She was delicate. Yet she had just torn through 2 armed soldiers as if they were nothing. The nurse turned back to him, her chest rising and falling calmly, not even out of breath. Her golden eyes locked onto his. "Now you understand," she said softly. The soldier's voice caught in his throat. "You're not just a nurse." Her lips curved, not quite a smile, but something close. "I told you. I keep you alive, but I am also the reason you are alive." Before he could reply, the ship shook again. More enemies were coming. The nurse moved quickly, grabbing his arm with surprising gentleness. "You will follow me. Do not fall behind. If you do, you die." He wanted to argue, but the memory of how easily she killed those warriors burned in his mind. He nodded. She led him into the corridor. The walls pulsed red, the air filled with the thunder of weapons fire. The smell of burning metal stung his nose. They passed more alien warriors, her people clashing with the attackers. The soldier saw one of her kind fall, cut down by a blade of red fire. The nurse did not flinch. She pulled him forward, her staff ready in her hand. At one turn, 3 more enemies blocked their path. The soldier tensed, but the nurse did not slow. She leapt forward, her staff spinning like a storm. The fight lasted only seconds. When it was over, 3 armored bodies lay broken on the floor. The soldier stared, his chest tight. Every time he thought he understood her, she revealed something more. She was not his nurse. She was his protector, his captor, his warrior, and maybe something even greater. When the path cleared, she pulled him into a side chamber. The door sealed behind them. She pressed her staff against the floor, and the weapon folded into itself, glowing faintly. For the first time, she looked tired. But her eyes, those golden burning eyes, never lost their power. "You see now," she said quietly, "why you must obey me, why you must become stronger." The soldier swallowed hard. He could still hear the screams and gunfire outside. He could still see the broken bodies she had left behind. "Why me?" he asked. "Why save me?" She stepped closer, So close he could feel the heat of her energy armor. Her voice was low, dangerous, but full of certainty. "Because you are not just a soldier anymore," she whispered. "You are mine, and soon you will fight beside me." The soldier's heart pounded. For the first time he realized the truth. She had not healed him out of mercy. She had not trained him out of kindness. She had saved him because she had chosen him, and whatever her plan was, he was already part of it. The battle outside raged on. The ship trembled under the weight of enemy fire, the red alarm lights flashing without end. The soldier leaned against the wall, his breath heavy, his body stronger than before but still not whole. The tiny nurse stood before him, staff folded at her side, golden eyes glowing even brighter in the dark chamber. She did not tremble. She did not fear. She looked as if the chaos outside was nothing more than background noise. "You will fight," she said at last, her voice calm but sharp. "With me, for me." The soldier's jaw tightened. "I never asked for this," her eyes narrowed. "You did not need to. I chose you." Her words cut deep. Chosen. Not rescued. Not healed. Chosen. He remembered the way she forced him to eat, to rest, to train. He remembered the strength in her small hands, the way even towering warriors obeyed her. He remembered the coil, the pain, the way she changed his body without his permission. And now, he understood. She had been shaping him, preparing him. The soldier shook his head. "I am human. I belong to my people." The nurse stepped closer, so close he could feel her presence pressing against him. Her golden eyes locked on his. "Your people left you. They are dead, or they are gone. But you live because of me." Her words struck like a blade. He wanted to deny them, but the truth was heavy. He had been dying when she found him. Without her, he would be nothing but ash in the wreckage of his ship. The ship shook again, harder this time. Somewhere nearby, a blast tore through the corridor, the sound of screaming echoing for only a moment before silence. The nurse did not flinch. She reached into a small compartment on the wall and pulled out a weapon. It was shorter than a rifle, longer than a pistol, glowing with faint blue light. She held it out to him. "Take it." The soldier stared at the weapon. His hands twitched, wanting to grab it, but his mind resisted. "If I take it," he said slowly, "I fight your war. I fight for you." The nurse tilted her head. For the first time, her voice softened, though her power never faded. "You already fight for me. You fought the moment you obeyed. You fought the moment you survived." He swallowed hard. She was right in a way. Every step since his awakening had been under her command. Every breath he had taken, every piece of strength he had gained, it was because of her. The soldier looked at the weapon again. His reflection stared back at him in the glowing surface. Not the weak, broken man he had been. Stronger, sharper, something new. But was it still him? The nurse watched silently, waiting. She gave no pressure, no command this time. Only the choice. The ship shook again, louder, closer. The enemy was breaching. Soon the chamber would not be safe. The soldier clenched his fists. His heart pounded. He could almost hear his own thoughts whispering, "Take it, live, fight." He reached out and wrapped his fingers around the weapon. The nurse's golden eyes flared with approval. She stepped back, her staff unfolding again with a sharp crackle of energy. "Good," she said softly. "Now you are mine." The soldier lifted the weapon. It felt natural in his hands, as if it had been waiting for him. His fear burned away, replaced by something stronger. Not trust, not loyalty, but a fire that came from survival. The nurse turned toward the door, her voice low but fierce. "Together." The soldier followed, the weapon glowing in his grip. The door opened and the enemy surged forward. Warriors in black armor, their weapons raised. The nurse leapt first, staff spinning in a storm of blue sparks. She cut through them like lightning. The soldier raised his weapon and fired. The blast tore through the first enemy, dropping him instantly. His heart thundered. His blood boiled. For the first time since the battle that destroyed his ship, he felt alive. He fought beside her, step for step, strike for strike. She moved like a shadow and he followed, his weapon roaring with fire. When the last enemy fell, the corridor was silent again. The nurse turned to him. Her small frame stood tall among the wreckage, golden eyes still glowing. She looked at him not as prey, not as a patient, but as something more. "You chose," she said. The soldier's grip tightened on his weapon. He looked back at her, his breath heavy, his mind torn between anger and awe. I didn't choose you, he said quietly. I chose to survive. Her lips curved into the faintest smile. And that, she whispered, is why you are perfect. The ship trembled again, but this time he did not flinch. He stood ready, weapon in hand, golden eyes staring back at him. And he knew deep inside that his life was no longer his own. It belonged to her, and this was only the beginning.